the beautiful YouTube sphere. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's good. We're uh we're we're excited to be here, answer questions. I'm Aaron. I'm one of the organizers of NgConf, and uh, I kind of get involved and help people at this stage kind of get their talks ready. Jorge, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Jorge. I'm one of the new organizers, but like the last year.
Yeah,
Uh, I'm happy to be here and
cool.
excited for the new NgConf, like
Yeah,
all years.
yeah. Yeah, no, dude, everyone should be excited about this chance to speak. Um, in the chat, if this is like your first time considering speaking, go ahead and say something in the chat. We're excited to kind of see how many first time speakers we've got. That's always kind of a cool part of the show, right? To see the first time speakers. Last year we had a couple, and I thought it was a lot of fun listening to them. So I'm gonna put the link to this live stream into the chat, and I'm gonna let people join to ask their questions. Okay, and I hope I can kick them out. Actually, let me see. Can I kick Jorge out? I can remove him from the stream. Hold on, I'm gonna remove you from the stream. Can I remove you from the thing? I can't remove you from the thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. Lots of first timers. Great, 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 great. Um, I'm gonna share the link to this stream. What I'm gonna ask is, come on, ask your question, and then go ahead and jump off and head back over to YouTube and watch it. We want to be able to interact with you live, but there's not enough room for everyone to jump into this call. So come in, ask your question. Once you're done, do us a favor, jump off, so that other people can get in. There's not enough room for everyone to get on here. I think there's only room for like 4 or 5 spots. So, all right. So Jeremiah says, can we ask a question if we're in the chat? Of course. We'll answer questions in the chat. We'll also answer questions in the live stream. So there's the link to join our live stream. And yeah, once you're here, we'll consider pulling you in and maybe letting you ask your question. So yeah, Jeremiah, if you have any questions, feel free to just chat them here in the YouTube chat, and we'll do our best to answer them. Jorge, this year is going to be your first time, like, kind of joining the talk selection process, right?
Yes, the last year I was in vacations, so
Yeah, yeah, I
this
remember
go
that.
to first time too. So it's my first time
Yeah,
too.
for picking.
Yeah, for picking.
Yeah. All right, so we got a couple people in here. We got Santosh. I'm going to go ahead and add Santosh and let him ask his question. Santosh, how's it going?
Hey, Jeff. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
What's your
hi.
question?
I recently spoke at NG Sri Lanka. So my question is like, what are the topics which will be considered for like NgConf?
So that's a tough question. The question, what's the topics? We kind of follow a trend of whatever's in the community. Like, if someone wanted to submit some Angular JS topics, like upgrading the Angular JS 1.7, we probably wouldn't pick that, right? That's kind of out of date. If someone wanted to, you know, talk about something that's a few years old, I don't know, we might talk about that stuff. But really, I guess we're kind of trying to follow the trends that are happening in the community. So I guess big trends right now are, there's a lot of server-side rendering going on. There's a lot of reactive programming and just sharpening your RxJS kung fu. So that's another one. And then there's a lot about to happen with Angular as far as with Ivy coming out. There's a lot of changes that are going to go on there. So anything around Ivy, Bazel is kind of under the hood now. They've announced that Bazel will be turned on in the CLI in version 10. So Bazel talks would be important. Let me give you an example of a talk that would be cool. So in Angular 9, that's almost out, they're adding this new thing that's kind of hidden. It's when you're creating a new project, you can say --strict, and it will create your project with some additional TypeScript rules that don't normally get turned on in projects. And so what that does is it makes your experience in an Angular project a lot more strict, but it also means you're going to find a lot more bugs before going to production. And what does that change do with that strict flag? That strict flag, what are the 5 or 6 rules? I think it turns on like 6 or 7 new rules. If someone gave a talk about, the new TypeScript rules coming to the default Angular projects, that'd be a cool, especially if you gave it a really cool name and figured out how to consolidate all of that and into a 5 or a 20-minute talk. That would be a cool talk title. But really, just anything that's kind of new, anything that's like still really relevant. So kind of with this, it's almost easier to say, I'm going to go ahead and remove you and just keep answering your questions, Santosh. It's almost easier to say what's not a good thing to talk about. Okay, because I definitely have some of those. Like there's this really good talk title. Well, it's this really good idea. Jorge, you've heard me talk about it before. I wish Joe was here so Joe and I could talk about it. Yeah, there's this really good title, a talk idea. It's called, we call them lessons learned. And what it is, there's smart people at companies all around us, and they've all got a ton of things they're learning, right? So a lot of people will come at us with a talk titled, hey, at such and such company, we wrote a big app, and these are the lessons we learned along the way. And that's a great, there's a lot of really good lessons that they learned, right? Everyone's learned those. But the whole coming at it from the approach of, hey, I'm going to tell you a story, I'm probably not going to pick you to get up on stage and tell a story. I will pick you to get up on stage and say the exact same thing. Just talk about the thing that you learned. Don't tell me the story about how you learned it. You know what I'm saying? Like, teach me the topic. Teach the audience the topic. But the superfluous background, it probably has a lot of meaning to you. When you only have 20 minutes, it's hard enough to talk about the thing, let alone add story and filler stuff. So that's something I wouldn't submit. I would take the thing you learned and submit that, but don't submit your story. Like don't submit story. Also, commercials are another thing that I probably wouldn't recommend people submit on. So, hey, here's my open source project. Look at it. I mean, there are some open source that we definitely pick. Like people are getting like, well, you pick Ionic. Well, yeah, but I mean, it's jump the shark. Or you pick NGRX. Yeah, but I mean, NGRX is jump the shark. It's those projects are different. It's not the same as me, and I wrote a couple components that I think are pretty neat. Like they're massively used. So I don't know. So I wouldn't pick your doing commercials for your company or for your pet projects. And then the last one, I just had it in my head. The one I wouldn't pick. It's going to come to me in a second. So Alex says, is NGRX a good thing to talk about? NGRX, of course, is a good thing to talk about sorry. Okay. Sorry. Before I answer Alex's question, the last thing, the talk needs to apply to everybody. So at the conference, 1,500 people live, 15,000 people on the live stream. If you submit a talk about .NET plus Angular, that's really pertinent to like 20, maybe less than 20% of the audience. Even though it's a good .NET talk, it doesn't apply to everybody. Or like Rails and Angular, or your backend of choice plus Angular, that doesn't really apply. And so it's tough to do those ones as well, even though they're really good talks. It just doesn't apply broadly enough to everybody. Maybe you can submit those as Faraday talks, but not as like main stage talks. So yeah. Anyway, all right. So yeah. let's go. We got Zach on here. I'm actually going to bring Santosh back and make sure I answer his question. Santosh, was that good enough? Did I get your question?
Yes. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, cool. Feel free to jump off and let someone else come in and ask questions. Thanks, Santosh.
Sure.
I'm going to go ahead and share the link in the live stream again, just in case someone missed it. Feel free to join that live stream and you can come on and ask your questions. I'm going to bring Zach in. Zach's been waiting patiently. How's it going, Zach?
Hey, doing well. How are you?
Good, man. What question you got?
So you may have already answered a lot of this. I was trying to kind of come at it from the opposite direction. Just see in the past, have there ever been any submissions that really stood out to you? What's a good way to grab attention? Because I know there's a whole lot of submissions coming in. Is there any good way to make your submission stand out?
That's a good. I wish Joe was here. Joe's really good at kind of talking about how to help people stand out. So let me try. There's sometimes when so I guess I could just say and this goes for any conference, not just ng-conf, any conference that you're going to speak at or submit to speak at. If you can get inside the psyche of the organizers, it makes it a little bit easier to understand what they're looking for. And so I'll just tell you a little bit about us. When we started, we were just a bunch of programmers that had a day job. We weren't conference organizers. We wanted to go to an Angular conference and there weren't any. So we figured why not make one, a small one, not even a very big one. And we'll see if the Angular team wants to come. And next thing you know, the whole Angular team's coming. We've got 700 tickets sold, and we have to mortgage our houses to get enough money to make this thing go right. So it got crazy quick, And I mean, imagine going home, whatever your hobby is, D&D or fishing, or whatever your hobby is, and telling your wife, hey, for your hobby, I need to get a mortgage on the house. Like she's gonna be like, no, and that's what we did, and that was crazy. So I don't know. We're very personally and emotional about this thing, and we run it as a business. We wanted to sell tickets. We want to give the best stage for the Angular team to present their new findings and what they're coming out with. Stage for the community, the narwhals, the NGRX team, the Ionic, Progress, all of our partners who have been with us for years, to kind of get up and say, hey, this is what we're working on. This is cool stuff. This is what we learned. So I would just know we're trying to sell tickets. Your talk needs to be a talk that if you saw it, you'd be like, I gotta go to that. I gotta see that talk. You know what I'm saying? So you're trying to make it so that 1,500 people go, I gotta see that talk. So I mean, use that and our psyche, your understanding of our psyche, to guide you into a better title for your talk. Unfortunately, the math on talk titles is difficult. Let me explain. We sit down for one giant session and pick talks, Zach. I don't know if you knew that. You probably did. It takes us like 24 hours straight. This year, I see Kim. She's in the comments. Kim's going to come this year. Kim Maida. She's agreed to come and go through the torture with us. So if you do the math, like let's say we have 400 talk submissions. If we do 60 seconds per talk, then that is, you divide 400 talks by 60 minutes to get an hour. And then how many hours is that? Like over 6 hours? Is that over 6 hours just to kind of read every talk one time? So yeah, it's a significant, and that's just round one. We do 4 rounds. And so it's a significant investment of time to just get through there. And so you really need to know that we're going to cut at least 50% of the talks in the first round through. And the biggest thing that's going to affect the first round through is your talk title and your description. So just make your talk title awesome and make your description less than 2 paragraphs. Some people get their description and it's like 5 paragraphs long, and we're just like, if we don't like the title, then it's just time to move on because we don't have 5 minutes to analyze the talk. You know what I'm saying? Like your talk needs to be able to get past round 1, I guess is what I'm saying. So
gotcha. Cool.
And we're not trying to be cynical. We appreciate everyone. We're just trying to get through the process though.
Yeah. So like maybe a good way to think about it is when you look at a pamphlet for like the conference, put a title that you think would grab someone's attention if you were
Yeah.
looking at the pamphlet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like what talk title do you think John Papa's going to submit? That's another good one. What's Deborah Carrata going to call her talk? I don't know, but think about that, and those are good talk titles as well. You know.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I'll look those up.
Okay. Cool, man. Thanks, Zach. I'm going to go ahead and remove you out there, and we've got a couple questions in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and answer them. Alex from Google says, "Is NGRX a good thing to talk about?" Obviously, NGRX is every day bigger. It's huge. It's used by a large portion of the audience. So, and it's heavily, it teaches you good reactive patterns as well. So even for the people who aren't using it, it's still a solid topic. So I would say yes. Godwin says, custom error management. Is that a good thing to talk about? I think error flow and flow control on errors can be difficult. So I think having an entire talk about errors on forms and error on HTTP and retries and stuff like that could be solid. Jeremiah in the chat says, my question, any interest in hearing about lessons learned writing standard web components and integrating them into an Angular project? Maybe some interest. There's Angular elements, and probably more the audience cares about Angular elements than just standard web component. What do you think, Jorge?
I think in that regard, it's create Angular web components to move to another project.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I could be off base. If your title was good and it sounded fantastic, Jeremiah, I could be in, but the Angular elements is probably going to be higher demand for this audience. So, allow question. Someone wants to know if Jeff Cross was sponsoring Zach DeRose's question there. Probably.
Shared.
Jared Youtsey says, when will it be announced? So we'll sit down. We'll pick talks January 10th. So the cutoff is January 3rd, and we'll pick talks January 10th. So don't wait until then to buy your ticket. If you get picked, we'll refund your ticket and we'll pay for your flight. So don't worry about that. Go ahead and get your ticket today. But yeah, so that's when we'll pick talks. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So we got Daniel. I'm going to go ahead and bring Daniel in. Daniel, go ahead and unmute yourself. Let's hear your question.
Hi. Actually, also already answered partially on the question on the previous one, but how about the thing that generally around the web development, like DevOps stuff, CI/CD, and all this? So because my feeling is that, like, unless you say, hey, we have Angular conference and it's all about Angular and we don't care about anything else around it, or you guys want to enrich community with the knowledge about let's say full cycle Angular development, not only the usage of the framework itself.
DevOps is big. Everyone has to deal with it. I would say it might be good as like a 1-hour workshop if you have some specific DevOps thing. I know that Dan Wallin, he's done some 1-hour Docker type sessions at the conference that get pretty popular. So DevOps is such a difficult thing to cover that you need at least an hour, I think. So I would recommend submitting something like that as a bit of a longer workshop for Fair Day. The middle day of the conference has longer sessions.
Yeah, but what about, let's say, something inspiration, talk about the front-end developers in general, not only the Angular developers, in general, front-end developers, they are kind of afraid of the scary about the DevOps. How about something that an inspiration talk that will tell him, hey guys, it's not so difficult. You can deliver your application by yourself without actually, looking for somebody else who can help you with the DevOps issues.
Yeah, it could be good. Pure inspiration, probably not. I mean, you have to have some code examples.
It's great,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Look, I saw Chris Noring and Shmuela Jacobs give a talk at NG Vikings where they showed off like this Angular CLI schematic that deploys out to Google Azure. So I mean, I've seen some talks go across well at Angular conferences. It's just I mean, it comes back to you really got to know your audience. Of the 1,500 people there, how many of them are DevOps also, right? And it's not most. Most of the people at the conference are developers at, enterprise companies who there's a DevOps team that does DevOps. So most of the developers they write apps and they write backend stuff, and the DevOps stuff is largely taken care of by different teams. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying don't submit it. I'm just saying just know the makeup of the audience. So yeah.
thanks.
Good question though. So Rachel, I didn't understand. Rachel had a question about the survey results for last year's ng-conf, and I'm not sure which survey she's talking about, and so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to say, but I would answer it. It sounds like she's at work and can't join. Let's keep going. ng deploy possibilities would be a nice topic to listen to. Yeah, I agree. It would be cool to get some ng deploy stuff out there. I know that those aren't easy to kind of nail down, and so I would be down with having a talk on that. Zach wants to know, he was already on, he says, hey, what about if my talk isn't exclusive? Should it be exclusive to Angular, or can it be around some other conference talk? Jorge, what do you think on that one?
Yeah, it's strange. When it's a big conference,
Yeah,
I think normally you need to put your best and try to get in this conference the talk. It's like, hey, first try here, and if it's yes, say yes, just give first in the NgConf or another big conference. Remember, the conference is recorded, so the people can see the talk after and all of this. So if the people pay for a ticket, you need thinking, hey, the people try to see new talks, not old talks.
yeah, I agree. I think that we won't exclusively say no if you've already given the talk before. We certainly don't mind if you give it after NgConf, but if you've given it already before NgConf, that means it might be like a little bit aged. And so depending on the topic, it may not fit well, but we usually prefer original talks, but I mean, that changes per person, just so you know. Like, I had this conversation with Kim Maida. She's like, hey, I want to submit a talk to you guys, but if I don't get picked, I also want to submit the same talk to someone else. I'm like, okay, do it. We'll be fine. Like, we'll figure it out. If you get picked for both, we'll figure it out on the back end. So I would just say submit your best talk ideas. If we like it and you're giving it somewhere else, we'll make it work. Like I wouldn't be too worried about that. So for it to get all the way through, it's got to be really good. Like so round one isn't very hard when you're picking talks. It's like the ones that obviously sound not good versus the ones that sound like, yeah, we should look at these a little bit closer. And I know that's harsh, but at an economy of scale, you have to be able to kind of disconnect emotionally, just be like, does this sound like something the community wants? And you have to kind of represent thousands of other people with your vote. Once you get down to round two, it's tougher because you're saying no to some talks that would be good. But once you get down to round three, these are all fantastic talks. We loved all of them to get past 2 rounds. And at this last round, round three, we're basically picking between a whole list of talks that deserves to go on the stage. And we have to sometimes arbitrarily pick which ones are better, And so by the time it makes it out, that means we liked it. And a lot of people liked it. It wasn't just like 2 or 3 people. And so I would recommend just submitting whatever talk you got. If it makes it out of round 3, that means we liked it and we'll be okay with whatever. So that's the answer. Okay. Someone wants to know folder structures, combining modules, lazy loading, and an unpopular opinion. Would that be a cool topic? I think that could be a really cool topic. Those are 3 highly requested topics. That would be tough to pull off all that in one 20-minute talk, but yeah, that would be a good topic. So Rachel said, hey, there's usually a survey that's posted about conference attendees feeling about last year's talks and what they'd like to see in the future. Okay. So I haven't, maybe I need to go through and compile those. In the past, I've compiled the feedback into a list that we can share with everybody. I haven't compiled last year's feedback. Maybe I'll go through and do that this week and share it so that the community can see what people are looking at. Yeah, I would love to see an Angular compilers talk. You know what else I'd love to see is an Angular architects talk where, you know, the new architects that you can add, the builders API. I'd like to see a builders API talk. That would be fantastic. So that would be fun. I'm gonna butcher your name. Kelechi. Is security a topic to submit on? I think security as it submits to front-end development is a very good very good topic to talk about. Asim gave a security talk, thought was fantastic. So I would say it can be. If you lose us in like back-end stacks and stuff, probably less than ideal. What do you think, Jorge?
I like the security. So I think a good but really short talk about security in Angular, but really, really specific. Like, hey, you need to have this 10 things, and with this, your Angular app is really, really secure. I think it's really cool topic. But really, a cool talk. Hey, you need this, boom.
Yeah.
And if you use that and that, boom.
I agree. If I could see that talk being picked automatically, because not many people are going to submit on it, right?
Yeah, and you need to think in really good abstracts. Say, hey,
Yeah.
I will talk only about this and for this.
Yeah, like be very specific because it's too broad of a subject. So
Yeah.
be very specific and be awesome and very, very targeted in what you're going to talk about. And I think you could get picked. We'll probably do something like that.
Yeah, I remember the talk from Dan about Docker in 5 minutes, Angular Docker in 5 minutes,
Yeah.
like this talk. If you can create an abstract like this talk,
Yeah.
but in security, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think security could be great. I think it could be a great topic. So yeah, you need to massage your title a bit because it could be super boring, your title. But if you make your title and your abstract sound good, I think it could be good. Alyssa, our buddy, she says, what's the talk formats? 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 60 minutes? So yeah, there's 5-minute talks, there's 20-minute talks, and there's 60-minute talks. Last year, the 5-minute talks were great. I think we had 7 of them. And so the 5-minute talks are always, there's one of my favorite parts of the show. We have the 20-minute talks, and 20 minutes may sound like a lot. It's not, though. 20 minutes is barely enough to kind of expose your idea and then actually talk about the idea. It's not a lot of time. Like you're not gonna be able to cover a huge soiree of topics. Like you got to be really targeted in your 20-minute talks. Like I remember back when conferences used to do 60-minute talks, and you could talk about like back end and front end and multiple pieces of front. Like you could talk about so much stuff in an hour. 20 minutes is not that. Right? Be very targeted. And then we have 60-minute workshops on Faraday. The workshops, we're expecting you to do basically 50% instructor time and 50% tell them to do it. So you show them something and then you give them a minute or two to do the same thing. And then you show them something and then you give them a few minutes to kind of follow you along. So we expect the workshops to be kind of instructor-led trainings type things. So yeah, that's kind of the format. How about schematics? Of course, especially how you're solving real world problems with them, right? Like, are you doing something special with them, or are you just like scaffolding out templates and stuff? Because if you're just scaffolding out templates, we probably already know that. But if you're doing something special with them, then I think schematics can be fantastic. Like, if you're writing schematics for like the RxJS team, so that when people upgrade from one version of Rx to another, it automatically takes care of that, and you're just migrating people's code through schematics, that would be fantastic talk. But it kind of depends. Like it depends on what you're doing with them. We will have a schematics talk. Let me say that. So yeah. Chaos Monster says, is machine learning still a topic that might be interesting? I think machine learning is a topic that a lot of people are interested in. We're probably going to invite at least one speaker to come give a talk about machine learning. So yeah, I'm not going to say anything else about it because we haven't spoken to the speaker yet. But yeah, I think machine learning is a great topic to bring in there. Facundo wants to know if accessibility is a good topic. Obviously, I think some of the talks I remember most from the last year have been these talks about raising awareness to the blind spots developers have. I think accessibility is a big one. So I think we'll have an accessibility talk. I would count on it. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out and let me know. Building design systems or use schematics with that. I don't understand the question, Chaos Monster. Sorry, I want to understand it. So someone, Aspen, saying, "Hey, what's up with the science fair project?" We call it science fair because some people have they've done cool things. Like if anyone knows Udi Shaked from Israel, he does cool stuff with Angular, and they're fun for people to see. They're fun for people to interact with, and they usually are dealing with like tangible like robots and stuff too. So if you have something fun, some Angular science fair project, like, hey, look what I built with Angular, it teaches kids to code. Like you have something really cool, you should submit that. Some really cool thing you did, some really cool problem. And we'll pick those and we'll give you a place to showcase that during Fair Day for people to come around and kind of see what you did and how you did it. So that's kind of what the science fair is. So yeah. I'm going to share the link in case anyone wants to jump on and ask us their question. We'll add them to the live stream. Go ahead and ask their question. So I guess since I don't see any more questions, we've answered them. Let me kind of talk about some of how we help you as a speaker. So a lot of people are nervous about giving their talk on a big stage like ng-conf. Some people are, they're not nervous for whatever reason, but others are. And so we try and make sure everyone's ready. So the first thing we'll do is we get you in touch with our speaker coach. So Google introduced us to this speaker coach. It's the speaker coach that they use. She's super well. She's super well versed in teaching people to share their ideas and to kind of see who they are and help them bring that out on the main stage. Last year, like an example, we had a 5-minute talk from Sam Julien about convincing your boss to upgrade. And I didn't think that could be funny, But Sam worked with the coach, and it actually was like a really, really entertaining and really, really funny talk. So we give you a speaker coach. That's one. You don't have to use the speaker coach, but the speaker coach is there, and if you love it, you can schedule more time with the speaker coach. And that's something we pay for that, so it's not, you don't have to like worry about, hey, how much does that cost? Like, as a speaker, you'll get this free speaker coach. Another thing we'll do is we're going to review your slides. A lot of people are worried that their slides might not be readable, or they might have something that will be inappropriate. So we'll review your slides as well. Okay, just to make sure that everyone's comfortable with what's going up on the stage, and that's kind of you kind of have to do that anymore. And so ng-conf is not reviewing slides, doesn't spend enough time on Twitter watching what happens when you don't review slides. Like, you need to review slides. Another thing we do is we're going to pair you with a speaking partner, and we're going to expect you both to give your talks to each other. So we'll pair you up. So in this case, like Jorge would give his talk to me, I would give my talk to him, we'd give each other feedback, and then we would move on. And then we're also going to encourage you to write a blog post about your talk that we'll then share on the ng-conf blog. So there's quite a bit going on. There's quite a bit going on behind the scenes that we do to help get the speakers ready for the conference. Now, we also, I mean, I don't know if this is public knowledge, you get a free ticket to the conference. You get to come a day early and go to a speaker dinner where most of the Angular team will be, and all the other speakers. We pay for your travel and your airfare and your hotel. You get a different like jacket. You get the speaker jacket versus the attendee jacket. I don't know why. Actually, I think the speakers get both. But yeah, so what else do you get as a speaker? You're on the website. You're on our YouTube channel afterwards. So yeah, that's kind of all the benefits. What else, Jorge?
Yeah, it's a lot of benefit. I think
Yeah.
and the gratitude from the people, no? Say, hey, thank you for your talk.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah. So we've got Sayaf. He's saying, hey, is there a slide deck? So we'll hand out some. We haven't announced our conference theme. We're going to announce that like next week. So we'll hand out a slide deck that everyone can use. We'll so some images. We won't actually give you a deck, but we'll give you some images so you can help theme your talks. But as far as us providing you with a slide deck, we don't really give you like, if someone wanted a slide deck, I would help them get a slide deck. So yeah. Also, Kim Ida brings up a good point. You also get eternal glory and undying gratitude when you're a speaker. That's another thing you get. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think when you think in your talk, you think in a way, in a path, and you can create your slides for this. No, it's like, hey, I can use this way, and
yeah,
you can use the image from the ng-conf, but you have an idea, so use your idea too.
Yeah. We've had such good content come from people doing their own slides that we would probably, I don't think we'd ever prescribe a slide deck. So yeah. Zach says, is there a limit to how many talks we can submit? No, there's not a limit. We'll only pick one though. So if let's say you submit 20, we won't pick 20. We won't pick more than one. You'll only get one at tops. Submitting 20 is probably not a good idea though, just on the topic. I would say pick your favorite 4 and really, really focus on those and give those. That would be my recommendation. Don't do 20 that you kind of just phone them in. Take 3 or 4 of them and actually focus on them. Like really, really, really focus on them, and focus on your title, focus on the description, and getting it where you want it to be. So yeah. Listen, how many is too many? I don't know. More than 5 or 6 is too many. Submit all your good ideas. Some people have more good ideas than the rest of us, but I would just say focus on Focus on quality rather than quantity. Quantity is going to get you kicked out in round 1. Quality is what's going to get you onto the stage. So I would say focus on quality. But yeah. Okay. What else should we say about it, Jorge?
I think in the first speak in the ng-conf, no? The first time speaking in the ng-conf, maybe can focus more in the 5 minutes talk. Sometimes it's more easy. It's, hey, this is the idea and it's only 5 minutes, so I can show. I remember the last year, this year really, the last ng-conf, the talk about the Angular community and how grow with the Angular community.
By Melissa?
Yes, by Melissa from Colombia. Yeah. And it's a really good talk about community. It's Angular, but Angular community. And it's one thing in 5 minutes. And
yeah, she did a great job at it too.
Yeah.
And that was her first time speaking, I think.
Yes.
Melina. Yeah, not Melissa. Melina.
Melina. Yeah.
Yeah, Melina. Sorry, Melina.
Yeah, sorry. But I think in this, no, in the first talk, maybe you can focus more in one point and create like a 5 minute talk.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Brandon Roberts has got a question. Brandon says, do you prefer single or dual person talks? So, I don't know. I think if I had to say what do we prefer, I would say we probably prefer single, but we have a whole history of exceptions to that. Brandon himself has given partner talks. John and Dan, Ryan Chenke gave a talk last year. Why do I always forget? Brad and Ryan gave a talk last year. The Angular team will give partner talks. Lucas has given a handful of partner talks. So we have a lot of exceptions to that rule. But I'd say we probably, and then obviously like some of the really big ones, like what was the one where it was like Mike Brocky and Peter Bacon Darwin and Shai Resnick and was it super reactive programming, man? I can't even remember what it was called. Oh, I replaced my merge map with a switch map, and you'll never guess what happened next. Something like that. Something crazy. So we have a lot of them, but I don't know. That's what I would say on that one.
Yeah, I like the talk with two people, maybe, but the two people really need to understand the talk and continue with the same flow. If not, it's strange.
Yeah. Nicole says, does submitting a talk with two speakers have an impact on whether it will be picked? Does having multiple speakers work better in a different talk format? I would say, sometimes yes, it can and help. It can also hurt it though. So yeah, without going too deep into what I mean there, depending on who the speakers are, it can help it or it can hurt it. I'll just say that. Does having multiple speakers work better in different talk formats? Yeah, if you're like a show person and you're gonna put on a show, and we can see that based off your talk title, and you give additional information. You're like, hey, we're gonna have fun, and this is the way the fun's gonna happen. Like Shai usually will describe his talks like that, so we understand. Okay, this is gonna be fun. If you have like a show basically to put on, then yeah, I would say describe that, and those make really good sense for two people. you know, dueling banjo can be fun, but it's not for every talk. And if you're just gonna have two people get up there and I don't know, be boring, then maybe not so much. I don't know. I gave a 2-person talk last year. I'm not gonna hold it up as an example for anything though, except for maybe what not to do. So I'm not sure, Nicole. I don't have a good answer for you on that one. I would say it can help, but it can hurt. So I think, Nicole, you got picked last year on your own though, just by being a rock star with a good idea. So I don't know. I'm just gonna say it can go either way. All right. Which one is better, the catchy title or the more explicit one that lets you imagine the content? I don't know, man. It depends. Like, it's got to be a talk that people say, man, I want to see that talk. So, I mean, I'll just give you an example. Like, Shai's ng-watt talks, right? His crazy one. If I had 10 of those at NgConf, no one would want to come. Like, you can't have 10 of those. You can have one, maybe you can have 2, but you can't have 10. So there's a balance that you're trying to craft. So if you want to submit a catchy talk, like John Papa's May the Force be with you, or what was it? I can't even remember his talk titles from a few
Yes.
Star Wars year.
But is maybe the code. No, it's about Visual Studio Code. This
Something
one.
like that. Yeah. If you want to come up with just a theme-based talk title and your description is really good, that will be good. But also the really, really like Brad McAllister and Ryan Schenke's last year running Angular inside of React. That was just them saying, hey, we're going to do Angular elements. And then not only that, but we're going to show you how easy it is to get them to run inside React. Like Angular elements is the easiest way to write web components. And so, but their talk title was using Angular in your React app. That's a really solid talk title that boils down what they're going to talk about. And it's going to make people at the conference want to see it. And it's also going to get YouTube people to want to see it too. So I don't know, like there's a way where both of those can be in the same talk title is what I'll say, Jons. But if you have any questions, are you being too flashy? Are you being too overt on it? Let me know. And I'll try my best to respond. Brandon, please don't say boilerplate in any more conferences. Someone's trolling Brandon on the live stream. Ever again. And then Brandon says 3 times. All right. So now we have to pick Brandon 3 times just to get it up there. All right. Brandon, why don't you come onto this thing and answer some questions for people or ask questions? Jump on this chat. All right. I think I was missing some chats. I was schooled up higher.
Kim,
I missed
you
some.
put emphasis in choosing solution. You
Yeah.
have the chat.
I was missing a bunch of these.
Yes.
Do you ever emphasize choosing submissions from people who are known for that topic? Yeah. I mean, if I have we've gone both ways, but like if I have someone who I don't know if they're a good presenter that's going to talk about OAuth, or if I have Kim who's going to get up there and talk about like auth, all right, I'll probably pick Kim because I know Kim. I know she's a good presenter and I know how much time she puts into it. So we do pick people for their note if they're known on it, but not always. Sometimes you'll have someone who knows more about it, but their talk title just doesn't sound very good. So we pick someone else. So yeah, that's Kim. Nicole, how many soft talk submissions do you want to see, if any? I'll tell you one thing about conference talks that's really weird. As a conference organizer, you're really trying to make sure that you have a ton of like diversity in the lineup. You want the speakers to represent the community and what the community looks like and is from and stuff like that. And so, it's tough to get that balance in the technical talks though. And then we actually have like the opposite balancing in the soft skills talks. Like, I don't know, 80% of the soft skills talks are from women in the community. We don't get a lot of soft skills talks from the men in the community. And so I'll just say, keep submitting what you want to submit on, but don't just go for the soft skills talk either. Like we want to see everyone submit everything. And to the guys, I'd say, hey guys, consider getting more soft skills talks because it's almost completely submitted by, it's a majority of the women in the community submitting those talks. So I don't know if I answered your question, Alyssa. I just kind of let you know kind of what we're seeing. Brandon, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. You at home working?
Say what?
You at home working?
Yep. I just dropping in to watch the CFP. I never actually got to sit through any of the CFP CF Office Hours stuff. So
Office hour stuff before?
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for coming, man. I'm gonna let Brandon answer the next one. So will you guys allow a topic on core JavaScript if it's not Angular specific? What do you think?
I think it should be something very unique if it's going to be outside of Angular. If it's not Angular specific. I mentioned, you mentioned Yuri Shaked earlier. I remember he did a talk about using TypeScript and like BigQuery to like search the entire GitHub database or something like that. So it wasn't Angular specific, but it was pretty cool. So I think if it's gonna, I think it's got to be pretty out there if it's going to be not Angular specific.
Yeah, like if someone was like, "Hey, TC39, how do they work and where's the observables?" All right, probably pick that. It's not a lot to do with Angular, but I'll pick that.
Yep.
Something core JavaScript, it would have to be pretty. It have to be pretty important. I agree with Brandon. Like 100% agree with what Brandon said. All right. Da, 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 da. I only have a few minutes left, so I'm gonna
just personally invite all of you on the stream and all of you people on Twitter to submit CFPs. Just coming straight from me because I did it for my first. I submitted my first CFP. What, 4 years ago, and it was because Joe Eames basically pushed me to submit one, and I had never submitted a CFP to any conference before NgConf, and I got accepted. And like fast forward 4 years, here we are. So
yeah,
I'm just gonna throw that out there to specifically challenge each and every one of you to submit a CFP.
You've had a busy 4 years.
Very busy 4 years.
A lot of the former speakers kind of have busy lives afterwards. I think it's because we're good. I don't think it's as much because speaking launches your career as much as I think we're getting pretty good at picking people that are on their way up. Because that seems to be the trend anymore with the speakers. So. So yeah, you specifically you've had a very busy last 4 years, man.
Yep. More than I would have imagined. And like I said, it pretty much started at that point. Submitting CFP to NgConf. So don't take it for granted. Definitely go for it. Anybody who's out there like questioning whether you should do it or not, I'm telling you, like, double down and do it.
Yeah, cool. Well, Brandon, thanks for coming on. Jorge, thanks for being my co-pilot on this thing. And we've only got a few minutes left, so I'm just gonna say thanks to everybody. If you have any questions, I'm open on Twitter. I've had a busy last few weeks, so I have like 20 DMs I need to go respond to. Jorge's open. I'm guessing Brandon would probably be open to answering any questions and helping someone.
My DMs are open on Twitter, of course. So if you want to ask me questions about prior CFPs or yours, I'll definitely try to help you out. So,
And Kim Maida, she's helping pick talks this year. So if anyone, you know where to send the Starbucks gift cards.
There you go.
So yeah, all right. Okay, everybody, appreciate you coming, and good luck. Stay tuned for the announcement on our theme. Once you know the theme, you can kind of give a different flavor of your favorite talk ideas to kind of match the theme. So anyway, all right. Appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time. All right, Jorge.